On this week's Letters to Lauren, I'm joined by Michelle, our expert coach here at Lauren LaRusso Coaching. And together we're going to read today's letter and respond to our letter writer. Mark writes, "Dear Lauren, thanks so much for your content. I'm married and ended up in an affair for the last year. My affair partner was in a relationship as well and was also seeing other people casually. I knew this going in, and the idea was to keep it casual. Passion, excitement, adrenaline have kept me engaged, even though I know this situation hasn't been good for my mental health. In part thanks to your content, I made the decision to end the affair a couple weeks ago. I communicated to my affair partner, and we've stopped talking and seeing each other. The problem is that I'm having a hard time moving on. I continue to think about her a lot. I know she's not the right person for me, but I still miss the time together and have a hard time thinking it's over. I've been married for 20 years and really love my wife. How can I get past this and refocus on my life? Thanks, Mark." All right, Michelle, I have so many thoughts. So let's just dive in. I mean, first of all, I'll just start by saying that you said it perfectly, Mark. The passion, the excitement, and the adrenaline kept you engaged, even though you know this isn't going to go on forever. It's not good for your mental health. You love your wife. It was supposed to stay on the surface, it was supposed to stay contained. But what we know about affairs is that it changes your brain chemistry and it ignites all of these highly rewarding areas of your brain. And that's what you're dealing with. So, what I don't want you to do is confuse how you're feeling with ending the affair being the wrong decision, because how you're feeling is completely normal. And it takes quite some time for those areas of the brain that were so activated and so lit up around the affair, your affair partner, and every behavior that required, a firing of a brain neuron to execute, whether it was a thought about your affair partner, a thought about something you'd done together, or looking forward to something that maybe you were anticipating together. It takes time for those channels to die down and to settle. And it's almost like a withdrawal. So it's really challenging. So Michelle, what do you think? What comes up for you around this letter?
Yeah, I mean, we hear this all the time, so I also want to normalize that as well, that this is, indeed a neurochemical biofeedback situation happening beyond just, and the actual actions and choices that you're making. And I do want to touch on how common it is after the affair. Like he made a choice. So he weighed things out. He acknowledges in the letter that this is not the person for me. Also talks about this person having other relationships and he's aware of that. And so he very much made this decision being logical, using our logical mind and emotional mind and very much seeing the logic in this, but so common to fantasize and romanticize the past once it's now in the past. So he made a choice. He's in it, walking down this path, but then going back to the times we shared together and how I felt then. And so I think two things. It's important to, first of all, remember why you made the choice that you made, to continue to walk down that path, and to actually focus on the negatives, but like purposefully bring your brain back into logic, why you made this decision, what the negatives were, what the sort of chaos of it was, what the negative experiences with this person were, and to really focus on those to remember why you made this choice, because romanticizing the past is really going to keep you there and starting to think you made the wrong decision. And it's really not going to be helpful to validate the journey that you chose.
So true, Michelle. And getting really specific about why you ended the affair and staying in that logic brain is so important, because logic, to your point, made him end the affair. And then emotion is making it feel hard to move on. We also know that it takes a certain period of time for like the wiring around a relationship, any kind of relationship gets an ending of something. And it takes time for that brain wiring to like unwire and weaken and unstrengthen. You brought up something really important, which was to get a little bit more deliberate about how he's letting himself relate to this affair. So if he's only thinking about the good things and he's only thinking about what he's given up or lost or going to live without, that's what's going to be reinforced. So I really like that you said to think specifically about the negatives. And that's something we coach our clients a lot around, because it's 10 times more painful when all you think about is glorifying what, you've let go of or lost or will live without. Talk about stabbing yourself with a dagger every day for the rest of your life. You need to come up with ways to counteract and counterbalance those thoughts, because it's really all in how you think about it. So, what I would want, and this is a piece of practical guidance for Mark, is to create a feelings versus facts list.
Yeah.
So, like, write it all down, put a line in the middle of the paper, and on one side, write all of the facts about the situation. And on the other side, write all of your feelings about the situation, past, present, future, whatever it is. And you'd be surprised at how a list like that just helps you come down from that heady space that you're in that can make it feel really much more painful and like a roller coaster. And remember that feelings aren't facts. Just because you feel a certain way, it doesn't mean that whatever you're thinking is factually true. Like, I'll never get over this or whatever. And the other thing, Michelle, I was thinking, tell me what you think. Maybe trying to practice active gratitude for his wife. So if you love your wife and you've been together for 20 years, right? He says, I really love my wife. That's nice. So let's practice active focus on all of the reasons you love your wife. Let's practice active gratitude for the life you have together. And the more that you practice that active gratitude, the shinier and more wonderful what you have right in front of you is. And the more you're diminishing those neural networks that are built up around the affair.
Yeah, absolutely. Is just remembering what you're there for. We're not robots. And so we're not going to be like you're only going to get to your logical mind. You're not going to have emotion. But what we find is that people get too stuck in here. We try to kind of parse out. We can't be all emotion. We always what happens if we only act on emotion, but we also can't only act on logic. We are humans. We are emotional beings. And what we try to do in the exercises through your masterclass, Laura, is try to kind of bring some kind of middle ground here where we're not all or nothing, because we do have to consider our emotions. It sounds to me like he, has made a very much the decision that was right for him. And I think if he thinks about those negatives, he knows that this is not the place. Also, remembering like who he was in that affair too. That's also another difficulty, right? Not it only being about the affair partner, but also kind of like who I got to be when I was in the affair. And that's also kind of a side that we say goodbye to as well, right? And again, just remembering why that person who showed up in the affair is not the person that he's choosing to be every day. And so that's just another area of exploration for him to maybe go down.
Absolutely. So the course Michelle just mentioned is the Finding Freedom for Affair Partners Masterclass. And the masterclass is focused on helping anyone who's been in an affair develop the mindset tools to counterbalance and counteract that emotional expansiveness of an affair that tends to hijack logic, hijack reason, and keep you in the affair cycle, which is so painful, right? And so Mark said, this is bad for my mental health. Listen, there's a lot of things that are bad for our mental health that we keep doing. Binge watching shows, scrolling social media, whatever. Kudos to you for making a choice to reclaim your mental health. This is an act of self-love, even if it feels hard. And the one thing I also just want to close on is allow your feelings. Don't let them run amok. So do the things that we talked about in this conversation. Really take what we suggested and put it into practice. And it's okay to have thoughts. It's okay to have feelings. It's okay to let those live alongside the reality that you are also trying to plant yourself in as you move forward. Keep moving forward. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. Keep expressing and finding gratitude for the life you have with your wife and everything in it. And continue to practice those logic based feelings are not facts exercises, and allow yourself to have some grief for maybe the person that you were in that relationship. Allow yourself to process the loss of some of the things that you experienced in that space of the affair. Let yourself have your thoughts. They're not going to kill you. And at the same time, continue to practice the things that are going to help you move forward. All right, Mark, good luck. Thank you for writing.